Guys, this is Keenan from the Acid Drip. So, small notice, I had a recording snafu with my microphone, and for a while my previous take was not recording. I'm actually not sure how much audio I lost. I will have to figure that out in post-production. But while I'm here right now, I have no idea how much I lost, so I apologize if I was talking and you're like, hey, what the fuck, where's the audio? It's like, well, I bumped something on my recorder and it stopped recording. Something like that, along those lines, I'm not sure. Whatever the case is, it is recording and the hold button is on, so there shouldn't be anything that's gonna stop it. My hand is relatively well rested after taking a little bit over an hour break, an hour and 30-minute break, and now I am back at it again. So I'm going to play this battle report, finish drawing this, and try to get 2 hours of sleep. Color morphs are pretty good in my opinion. They generally make their points back. Aberrants also make their points back. See, this is bleeding all over the place because I'm struggling to control it because my hand is tired. But I don't really have the option of not finishing this. I think Primarchs make the game really unbalanced. You're gonna have to figure out a way to make like Primarch equivalents for, you know, Necrons, Tau, Tyranids. Like, you're gonna have to give them a special character that's the equivalent of that. Otherwise, there's just no point, you know, there's just no point to not playing Space Marines. Same thing with AdMech. Belisarius Crawl is kind of the equivalent of a Primarch, but like, you know, Orcs need something like that. They're getting Gadskull, but I don't know if that's like enough to kind of compete with all the Primaris Intercessor crap that they're doing. I am so tired. I'm butchering so much of this. I've butchered a bunch of it, which is just incredibly frustrating. It's what I can do right now. It's what I got. Got to get this done. Gene Stealer cults are way too fragile. They need a stratagem that lets them spend like 2 CP to just automatically go. You killed a fucking chaplain and that's it. It's the first time I've seen his Sanctus actually kill anyone. Gene Stealer cults need a lot of help. got lucky that he killed even the champ one. They are supremely nerfed compared to the Primaris. There it is, done. This is finally done. Is it great? It's good enough. Is it perfect? It's good enough. Real quick comment on this. That Phil from Glacial Geek, incredible sportsman. He's playing for fun. He's playing very fairly. He's playing very, gentlemanly. The other guy he's playing against is like Lord of Cheese, just super OP, like try hard, not trying to play for fun, but trying to just smash in other people's faces. I totally get it when you're like in a tournament scene to try and play the most tuned list possible, but like literally the most aggressive Gene Stealer cult list can barely compete with a Primaris, especially when you're castling up with Gilliman in the back so you can like use him as a gun platform, which is what this guy's using him for. So I think like trying to play for more fun is in the end more valuable, especially because the opponent's like, oh, your unit's dead, and then Phil's like, no, I have a rugged construction 6-up save. It really annoys me whenever you play like Magic or Kill Team or just 40K or like even a video game, and you have those like tryhards who just want to win and they find winning to be more valuable than playing the game. I hate that so much. It makes it unbearable, and it completely defeats the purpose of playing the game. So in my opinion, like having fun and playing the game with good sportsmanship is way more important than just, kicking everyone's ass and like being the biggest tryhard in the room, which just kind of makes you look like a dick at the end of the day. So props to Phil for being polite and like keeping a level head while his opponent basically act like a man-child. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on competitive gaming. I think it's fucking stupid. Like just the entire phrase competitive gaming, in my opinion, is an oxymoron because it's a game. You know what I'm saying? So that's my philosophy on the matter. I understand that people are competitive about it because, it's what they enjoy. So I'm not discrediting enjoying it, but I definitely discredit the elitist attitude, which I think is like way too pretentious and is like completely enfranchised by like crappy behavior and just bad manners and people who haven't been, set straight by just like regular, face-to-face social interaction. There's a lot of crap you get away with on the internet, and like that you can get away at hobby shops and gaming stores because people will kind of just like let it slip by unnoticed. But yeah, I find that whole like competitive gaming aspect to be like the most fucking obnoxious thing ever, and like the biggest turnoff from actually playing a game is, the tryhards. They make it just kind of unbearable for me. Granted, in the past I've been called a tryhard. I think it's a phase that everybody goes through while they're learning how to like, enjoy a game. Because I think like there's a phase you go through where you want to be competitive and win because it's a new game and you want to be good at it. But I also think that like the better you get at the game, the less important it is to win and the more important it is to have fun. That's when you're like really good at the game. Winning doesn't really matter. Just playing and making yourself a better player is more important than winning. Remembering your tactics, remembering all of your team abilities for your list, remembering all the interactions that you have available at your disposal, that's a lot more valuable than winning. That's like true sportsmanship and strategic thinking. I'm surprised I just done that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm tweaking little things now that I'm kind of looking at it from like a top-down perspective. Like I'm trying to tweak a few things just to make it, I guess, a little bit more simple. And then the value of doing that is if I make it simpler, it'll look better and look more consistent. Basically what I'm trying to do is simplify this a little bit more so that when it gets converted into the digital format, it's a little bit more simplified, and then in that process of simplifying it, it'll communicate better. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, is just like clearer communication and shape language, and making things like just more visually legible. The visual legibility is the ability for someone to very quickly look at this and recognize the shapes. If you can look at this and recognize the shapes very quickly, then it has high visual legibility. If you look at it and struggle to recognize the shapes and the channels and the way the movement of the piece is, then that means it has low. See, I just wrote a note there that said simplify. I wrote that earlier, and then I just made this more complex. So I call this a crown piece, and the simpler it is, the bolder it is, the bolder it is, the easier it is to recognize. Putting a certain amount of ornate detail on it is important because it is a crown piece, it's a corner piece, it's a point of focus where two lines intersect. It's a vector point where these two intersections are occurring, kind of like this. They're angles of tension kind of intersecting here. So this point is very important. You want some amount of detail there, but what you don't want to do is make the detail so intense that it obscures the point, because now there's so much detail here. Instead of looking here at the very tip, you're looking in this area, which means I've made this too much. So I need to take some detail out of it and kind of make it swoop up to that point, but also simplify it so it's not too noisy. It's just one of those things that when I'm drawing it in the computer, I'll probably think of a revision. But this right here is the final hand-drawn version, and it's still not perfect. You can see that I made some edits right there, and I'm kind of like fixing this. But it's at the point where where this is at is where it needs to be. Because like this is swooping out here, like this, and then this is swooping inwards, and that's swooping upwards. So it's kind of going like, and then out here, this needs to be more of a point. So I think I'm going to do something like this. I want this to really come to a focal point. So like I'm kind of coming up with some visual revisions, but those kind of aesthetic things, when I'm laying down the big swooping anchor points that are going to outline the frame, and then I start adding the subcutaneous forms, these are kind of spots where I'm thinking about putting like the main anchor points in the arcs. And then once I have those outlined, the rest of it will kind of fit into place. So with all that nonsense said, it's 4:47. I gotta fucking go to bed because tomorrow I gotta get up and work. It was really good that I took a break for that hour and a half. Unfortunately, it's really late, and you know that took up a bunch of time. And now I have to get up tomorrow at 8 a.m. and be ready for work, and that's just gonna kind of suck. But I'll sleep in the afternoon, and then now that this letter is done, I'm gonna take a short break from drawing, and I'm gonna go through an editing binge so I can take all the content that I've updated it till this point and get it thrown into the computer and then up onto YouTube. And then the next step will be once everything's on YouTube and I've edited everything that I've drawn, I'll begin making more content. The last thing I want to do is get so far ahead in content and raw video and raw audio that I kind of like bury myself in project work and have to like backtrack. The big reason why I made that huge push to like grind out content is that I thought I had a huge backlog. I actually had a smaller backlog than I thought. So I made an announcement. I was like, I'm going to try and release 2 videos a day every day for 10 days. And I did it for like 3 days straight, and then I fucked up. And I had to drop off of that commitment because I actually thought I had a bigger library of content than what I actually had. What I did was I ended up having like, you know, roughly speaking 30 clips of me drawing, but I ended up condensing most of those clips down, and those 30 clips ended up becoming, at the end of the day, something like 9 videos. And so like what I thought was going to be like way more was actually like way less. So I'm kind of learning how to evaluate like how much content I've created when I do these drawing videos, and it's kind of like teaching me, you know, like what can I expect, like how much content do I need to expect to collect to make like a single small like 3-part video series, how much to expect for like a 5-part, and then like a 10-part, which is more like long term. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's kind of like figuring out where the balance is and what these things mean and how much effort it takes and what I should expect and what I should be patient with, and like, you know, the outcome I can expect from the work that I'm doing. So with all that kind of in mind, I'm getting better at kind of predicting what my workflow is like and what my productivity will be like, which is very valuable because then it allows me to better understand like what it is I'm doing and how long it takes, and you know what it is I'm capable of accomplishing in a certain timeline. Anyway, it's now 4:50 instead of 4:47 minutes. Time to go to bed. So I'm Keenan. This is the Acid Drip. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in a few days with a bunch of YouTube content. By the time this video gets up, though, I'll be making new stuff. So thanks for watching. Stick around. More soon.